Chardonnay True Crime fans, welcome back to another episode of Chardonnay True Crime. I'm your host, Dakota. With me, as always, is the lovely Kate.
That's me.
That is her. And tonight, we are going to be doing a very interesting episode. We are going to be covering John Wayne Gacy this evening. If you haven't heard of him... Yeah, again. I covered John Wayne Gacy when I was doing the show by myself, and that was the night of the epic clusterfuck of the show that turned into us having our Facebook group. However, tonight we are going to be trying again. We are going to be going through it a little bit differently than I did last time, where I was just hammered and reading information off the internet. I actually prepared notes for tonight's episode. Kate can tell you I have notes.
I seen them. I have received the notes.
Yeah. And not only that, but I actually have a video. I have like a hair like caught right on my nose ring, but it's like sticking up right here. It's gonna drive me crazy. But I actually have a video to show you all tonight. This is going to be our first time actually showing recording of a serial killer being interviewed. Now, this is before he committed his murders, but he was in prison when he did do this interview. And it's actually a really interesting interview. And it's just about like prison life and everything. And we'll get into the purpose of that video and once we get into the episode. I also have more pictures to share with everyone just so they know who we're talking about tonight. And I'm going to share actually one of arguably the most popular pictures of John Wayne Gacy aside from his mugshot, which is obviously a very well-known picture. But this picture is one that people know all over. When you talk about John Wayne Gacy, as I was saying before, you think of one thing in particular, and that is Pogo the Clown.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here is a picture of John Wayne Gacy as his character, Pogo the Clown. Now, a lot of people have referred to John Wayne Gacy as the clown killer and things like that, and it is not quite accurate. It's not like he was out there committing crimes dressed like that. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah, no, that would be oof. Reminds me too much of 2017, 2016.
Yeah, whenever those clown things were going around, when people were like, "Oh, there's people dressed up like clowns."
Yeah, those were the killer clowns. They were terrifying.
They were, but actually at the same time, I was like kind of amused by that whole phenomena because I was like, I really hope that some of those people dressed as clowns just like show up where I live. I would absolutely love it if I was like getting out of my car in the middle of the night. And I've talked about this with you, Kate, where like I used to get home at like 3 a.m. sometimes. I would have loved it if a clown was just like waiting at the top of my street at like 3 a.m. as I'm getting out of my car. So he like a clown is like at the top of the street. I'm getting out of the car. The clown like pulls out a knife. I pull out like a screwdriver, and they're just like, "Wait, what?" And then they're just like,
out your machete.
Yeah, they like take a few like steps towards me with a knife. I just take the screwdriver and shove it directly into my face. They're just like, "Oh God, no!"
Like the ultimate defense mechanism, out freaking them out.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just like pull the screwdriver out. I'm like, I do that to myself. What do you think I'm gonna do to you, bitch? The cops in town are just getting like, phone calls about some crazy bearded lady chasing a clown with a screwdriver.
Yeah, we don't really know what to do about this. We're not sure. Is this a crime?
class, they're just like, that's Dakota. She'll tire herself out in a block or two. They're just like, but the clown?
Just,
She'll tire him out too.
But she has a weapon? It's a screwdriver.
It just reminds me of a Tumblr post I saw earlier today where a person was like talking about when they're in their principal's or the assistant principal's office, and a kid came in and sat next to them and was like, "What are you in for?" And the OP was like, "Oh, they just want to like check and make sure that I can miss my classes so I can run some AV stuff in an assembly. Why are you in?" I stabbed a kid with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
OP was just like, we lead very different lives. Yeah, Dakota, why are you in prison? I stabbed a fake clown. I stabbed a fake clown with a screwdriver.
I stabbed a fake clown with a real screwdriver.
Yeah, exactly, with a real screwdriver. That's the important distinction right there. Just it was a real screwdriver and a fake clown.
Yep.
Yeah. New food.
Hello.
My phone's trying to connect to my television, which is what I use as my second monitor. So I'm like, no, don't do that. Or as William says, bitch, this is my circus. Yeah, exactly. You are not wrong, sir. Actually, I had to wear my Pennywise t-shirt today. Just because I knew we were talking about clowns, and it's the only clown shirt that I own, I think.
That's okay. That's one more clown shirt than I own.
Yeah, it's the only one I own. I was trying to remember. My mom found this really ridiculously sparkly, like 80s clown shirt, and she bought it for me, and I ended up giving it to my friend Crystal. What are you laughing at?
Bitch, any shirt you wear is a clown shirt.
Wow. Okay, that's it from Kate.
Oh my
I hate you. I hope you know that.
Oh god. That jumped into my head so aggressively.
Yeah, I saw it go into your head, and I just saw like the look of like horror and then just grin on your face. And you were trying to hide. So rude. I invite you to be a part of my show, and this is how you repay me. I produce your show idea. This is how you repay me. Rude. Rude.
Ooh, goodness.
Yeah, you deserve it. All right, let's get started with John Wayne Gacy, part 1. I guess send in the clown.
Oh, shoot. Maybe I should grab my notes. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, that might be helpful. Now who's the clown?
I still heard that. Fuck you.
Good. I'm glad you did.
Whoopsie doodle. All right, we're going to knock over the whole table. That's fine.
Have fun with that. My eyelid is itching. Oh god, this is the worst feeling ever. I always feel bad when I itch. I always feel bad when I itch my eyelid because I'm like, I'm not doing anything bad. I'm just trying to like scratch my actual eyelid corner.
Yeah, that's the worst. Mine always gets itchy like right in here. It's the worst.
Yeah, right here doesn't bother me so much, but when I have to like do this, I don't like it. But let's get it started with, are you ready? Stop poking your eyeball. All right, do you have your notes?
Yeah.
Then let's get started. Now, John Wayne Gacy is known as one of the most prolific serial killers in American history, and is considered to be by some the reason that so many people are scared of clowns. But what made this family man from Chicago into the monster that we know, and admittedly in a sick way, many people do venerate to this day? John Wayne Gacy was just that, a family man, a man who had good ties in the community, a man who had a good business and made jobs for the youth of his town, and who had a good social standing. But behind closed doors, he was a monster. He was the person people warned their children about, and he became one of the most well-known people in the world. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the early life of John Wayne Gacy. We're going to talk about what twisted him into the person we know now, and we're going to discuss how homophobia created one of the deadliest killing sprees the United States has ever known. But before we do, I do want to take a quick moment just to talk for a second about the Chardonnay Podcast Network. The Chardonnay Podcast Network is a network of creators who have come together to build a podcast family as a sort. We obviously have Chardonnay True Crime as part of the network, but we also have Kate and I's side project, Geeks, Freaks, and Beaks.
My baby.
The Kate's Brain Baby. And we also have a new podcast on the network called Fork This Podcast, where hosts Brian and Anna get together once a week every Saturday, and they talk about different foods and how it influences cultures around the world. In their first episode, they talk about coffee, and they talk about the most expensive coffee in the world. They talk about the right way to order your favorite Starbucks drinks at any other mom and pop coffee shop. They talk about horror stories from working as baristas. And they do a coffee quiz online, which is really fun. And I really enjoy listening to it. In their second episode, they talk about potatoes, which I'm really excited to listen to. I haven't listened to it just yet. Yeah. And they named the episode Potatoes. I've recommended a couple episodes to them. I really hope they take it. But if you're interested in checking out the Chardonnay Podcast Network, you can check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Chardonnay Network. So let me just put that on a banner for you all. All right, so once again, that is facebook.com/Chardonnay Network. You can find all of the different podcasts that live in the Chardonnay Network. You can check out all of our Facebook pages. You can learn all about the hosts. You can learn all about the podcasts, and you can listen to our podcasts anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcasts. So our podcast, Chardonnay True Crime, is available on Spotify. Our podcast, Geeks, Freaks, and Beaks. It rhymes, so it always throws me. Geeks, Freaks, and Beaks isn't actually available on Spotify just yet, but it will be soon. And Fork This Podcast is available on Spotify. So please check it all out. Check out the Chardonnay Network. We would love to see your thoughts on all the podcasts. We'd love to have you listen. And with that said, let's bring it back to John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy was born March 17th, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois, to John Stanley Gacy and Marion Elaine Robinson. He was the second child and the only son of the couple. His mother was a homemaker and someone who John was close to, like many serial killers. He enjoyed helping her cook and bake, and by his sister Karen's accounts, enjoyed helping his mom decorate cookies, which infuriated his father, who was a hardened veteran of the First World War and an auto repair machinist. His father, like many serial killers' fathers, was an alcoholic who was physically abusive, and by some accounts it was only abusive to the extent of how children were abused in the 40s and 50s, a spanking or something. But after doing more research, I found several stories of a lot more that went on in that home than some serial killer scholars like to talk about.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and we're going to cover it. So he had a leather barber's strap that he would use to punish the children with, and he would occasionally hit his wife. And again, his daughter Karen is quoted as saying, you know, Dad didn't care how hard he hit us. He didn't care how many times he hit us. He didn't care where he hit us, just as long as he hit us, which is just
Yikes.
horrifying to think about. Yeah. Now, John's sister often recalls their father being disappointed with his son, who was described as being overweight, unathletic, and the opposite of the ideal son his father had dreamed of. In fact, he was so disappointed in who his son was, it clouded his judgment and made him treat his son horribly, even when presented with evidence that the boy was not actually well enough to be that kid that he wanted. You know, like he wanted a little sports star, he wanted a little jock, he wanted the dream child, you know, the dream son, whatever that may be. That's what he wanted. And John Wayne Gacy didn't live up to that. For instance, because of a heart condition, he was ordered to avoid all sports at school. And during the 4th grade, he began to experience blackouts. He was hospitalized on occasion because of seizures and in 1957 for a burst appendix. He later
Ooh.
estimated, yeah, I know, right? Like, ugh, God. And like, just knowing what his dad was like already, just can you imagine how much pain he would have had to be in before his dad would actually let him go to the hospital?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. But,
Like, he seems like the kind of dad who probably, like, if he had said that, like, he was having those kinds of pains, he would have been like, oh, what are you, some kind of girl? Or like something like that.
yeah, don't be a girl, man up, that kind of attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, John would later estimate that between the ages of 14 and 18, he had spent almost a year in hospitals for 3 episodes and attributed the decline of his grades to missing school. And his father suspected that these episodes were an effort to gain sympathy and attention and openly accused his son of faking the condition as the boy lay in a hospital bed. Now, although his mother and sisters and a few close friends never doubted his illness, Gacy's medical condition was never conclusively diagnosed. So we don't really know, but I'm going to go ahead and guess, I'm just going to go ahead and guess that this condition was likely anxiety. Like,
Yeah, maybe. Maybe a
he was
little
probably
bit.
blacking out. He was probably blacking out from like anxiety attacks or like panic attacks. Like, holy crap.
I know I've had episodes like that where like I literally like I haven't fully blacked out, but like I've had episodes where I can't move and
Yeah,
like
I
I
know.
can't speak. Like you've been there, like not like physically, but
No.
you and I have been talking when those have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, let's be honest. Like, the anxiety of having such a fucking hardcore guy as your dad could not have been easy on John Wayne Gacy. Like, this guy is just like, well, you're not good enough for me, and anytime you're not good, I'm gonna beat you with a leather strap. And also, you're horrible, and you're a disappointment, and you're fat and ugly, and of course, Gacy's gonna have fucking panic attacks. Like, I'd have a panic attack. I'm
It's
just
almost
saying.
like it's almost like being berated might give somebody some self-worth issues.
What? That's wild. How could you even say such a thing?
I know, hot take, hot take.
Hot take. Hot take it away. Now, despite all of that, John wasn't entirely innocent at his young age. In fact, in 1949, John's father was informed that his son and another boy had been caught sexually fondling a young girl. I do have to wonder if Gacy was born in let's see, when was he born? 1942. So this is 1949. So he's like, it's like 7
49
at
or
this
59?
point. 49. So he's like 7 at this point. So where would he have learned that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, so Gacy's father whipped him with the razor strop as punishment. That's the name for the butcher, the barber strap.
The butcher baker strap.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started on that idiot. I need to finish watching The Frozen Ground just so I can like actually say that I've watched the whole thing, and then I can just be like, okay, now that I've watched this movie, fuck it for these reasons. That's basically my feeling on every movie that's actually done about a serial killer is just fuck it and I will tell you why. But I need to watch them all first. However,
Yeah.
Gacy's father whipped him with the razor strap. And the same year, a family friend molested John Wayne Gacy. And this was an individual who was a contractor who would take Gacy for rides in his truck and then fondle him. And he never told his father about these incidents, afraid that his father would blame him. NG, I wonder fucking why he was afraid his father would blame him. Listen, I grew up in the most supportive house that anybody could ask for, and I was afraid to talk about being molested because I was afraid that I would get in trouble.
Yeah, it's like I can't say that like I have that experience, but yeah, I know that like I know growing up, like any possible thing that went wrong, I was terrified to tell my parents, just like, this is my fault somehow. I don't know how yet. I had nothing to do with it, but I know this is my fault, so I'm going to get in trouble for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So for those who are curious about why he was afraid his father would blame him, we have a few other stories about the abuse that came from the Gacy home. One of his earliest childhood memories was of being beaten with the leather strop at the age of 4 for accidentally disarranging car engine components his father had assembled. On another occasion, his father struck him across the head with a broomstick, rendering him unconscious. Just pointing out here, head injury. Just like a lot of other serial killers.
Quadrant,
Indeed. For those of you who are new and not used to watching our show, we are of the belief that the McDonald triad should become the McDonald quadrant because it is just a lot easier to. I mean, it just makes more sense that way, in our opinion.
Yeah, nothing official. That's just our.
It's our take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our psychological headcanon.
Oh God, Anyways,
I regretted that as soon as I said that.
I'm glad that you did. So when he was 6 years old, Gacy stole a toy truck from a neighborhood store. His mother made him walk back to the store, return the toy, and apologize to the owners. And his mother informed his father, who then beat Gacy with the strop as punishment. After this incident, his mother attempted to shield her son from his father's verbal and physical abuse, and yet this only resulted in accusations that he was a sissy and a mama's boy who would probably grow up queer, which, as an already queer young boy, that was probably one of the most hurtful things for little John Wayne Gacy to hear, knowing that you can never be open about who you are to your family. And sure, maybe he didn't know he was gay at the time, but he might have. We don't know. We don't know how young John Wayne Gacy was when he realized that he was queer. I'm just saying.
Like anything that may have happened with girls or women, like that doesn't mean he was not queer at the time.
Exactly. So, one of Gacy's friends at high school recalled several instances where his father ridiculed or beat his son without provocation. On one
Oof.
such occasion in 1957, the same friend witnessed an incident at the Gacy household when John's father began shouting at his son for no reason and then began hitting him. His mother attempted to intervene, and the friend recalled that Gacy simply put up his hands to defend himself, adding that he never struck his father back during these physical altercations. Gacy seldom received his father's approval, later recalling that no matter what he achieved, he was never good enough in his father's eyes. His father regularly belittled him, calling him dumb and stupid and comparing him unfavorably with his sisters. And despite all that, Gacy has always denied ever hating his father. Just Jesus.
That's some serious psychological damage there.
Trauma.
You know, it's
Trauma. That is just trauma.
yeah. And you know, when it's your parents, it's like it's hard to say you hate your parents.
It
You
is.
know?
It absolutely is. Absolutely. But but Gacy again is not quite as innocent as the people around him perceive to be, as revealed in the TV show Monster in My Family, season 1, episode 6, which is about John Wayne Gacy, wherein they talk to John's younger sister Karen, and she revealed that despite his passive side when it came to his father, John had a secret side that she herself discovered. While snooping in his room when John was about 13, Karen's his younger sister, so of course younger sisters are going to be snooping around in their older siblings' rooms.
That's what you do.
Yeah. You're a younger sibling. Did you ever do that to your older siblings?
Well, I shared a room with my older brother for 15 years, and then with my older sister, like it wasn't excessive, but every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever find
very,
anything?
No, not really. At least not that I can remember. I was always very curious. I was very curious, but I was also very considerate because I was like, I'm going to look at their stuff, but I'm going to make sure that they don't know I was in here because then they're going to think that I was snooping. And then they'll be upset.
Okay. All right. So while snooping in his room when John was about 13, Karen discovered a paper bag in his closet containing pairs of silk panties. After telling her mother about it, it caused another huge blow up in the family home. But this wasn't the first time that this happened. As Karen revealed, her mother, Marion, told her that at an earlier date, she discovered John hiding a pair of her panties, Marion's panties, in a brown paper bag under a staircase, and that they had seen signs of this fetish before. Yeesh.
Look,
We're not king shaming. We're not king shaming.
No, it's not the fetish I have an issue with. It's the fact that you took your mom's.
Yeah, and the fact that when the mom's thing happened, he was younger than 13. I'm just saying. Like, that is the hypersexualization of John Wayne Gacy at this point, and his hyper focus on sex at this point is definitely indicative of a child who had been molested.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That shit doesn't happen just on its own.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But Kelly says, that's how I
Okay.
discovered Iron Maiden stole cassettes from her brother's room.
And then she said, I ever discovered anything interesting.
She also says, thank you, Kate. That's what I was just saying about, it's not the fact that you have a kink. It's the fact that you're sexualizing your mother. That's an issue. Yeah.
Or unfortunately, your mother's underwear.
Yeah. I don't know that he was ever actually sexualizing his mother, but he was definitely sexualizing underwear. I mean, I guess it's better that he got it from his mom than his sisters, because then he didn't, have a kink for little girls' underwear, I guess. But
I guess
either way, it's not good.
It's not, but I guess it is less bad than it could have been.
Yeah, I guess so. So, anyways, eventually, the fighting in the household became too much for John, and at age 17, he had saved up for a car, bought one, and left the family home, taking off and making his way to Las Vegas, something that his family didn't know about until they finally hired an investigator to locate the missing family member where he had found work within the ambulance service before he transferred to work as an attendant at Palm Mortuary. As a mortuary assistant, Gacy slept on a cot behind the embalming room. He worked there for 3 months, observing morticians embalming dead bodies. And later he confessed that one evening, while alone, he clambered into the coffin of a deceased teenage male, embracing and caressing the body before experiencing a sense of shock. I'm pretty sure that sense of shock was likely him realizing, oh shit, I'm gay.
Probably.
Yeah. Just, oh, I'm gay. Oh, boy.
New and a bit alarming.
So this prompted Gacy to call his mother the next day and ask whether his father would allow him to return home. His father agreed, and the same day he drove back to Chicago to live with his family. Now, Karen described him as more withdrawn when he returned from Las Vegas, but when he did return, he began taking classes at Northwestern Business School, where he graduated in 1963, despite not having graduated high school. He took a management trainee position with the Noonbush Shoe Company. Excuse me. And in 1964, the shoe company transferred him to Springfield, Illinois as a salesman, and eventually promoted him to manager of his department, where he would meet his first wife, Marilyn Myers, one of the fellow employees. During their courtship, Gacy joined the local JCs, which, under my investigation, is some sort of leadership cult kind of deal. It's like Junior Chamber of Commerce, but it like teaches you how to be a good leader in the community, and like it's like the Boy Scouts for adults, from what it sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But they boast such members as Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, Hubert Humphreys, Edmund Kemper, Gacy, and they posthumously made Elvis Presley as a member. So all in all, a fantastic group of guys there, real pillars of the community.
Yeah. I thought you said real killers of the community, and I thought that was very funny.
Honestly, yeah, it works. They are killers of the community. I mean, look at what Reagan and Nixon did to the community. And then, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't actually know that much about Hubert Humphreys, but I included him because I know that there's a Tom Lehrer song about him, and it made me smile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's called Whatever Happened to Hubert. Well, you know Tom Lehrer.
Yeah.
So the song about Hubert Humphreys is Whatever Happened to Hubert.
Okay. That sounds
But he was
familiar, actually.
I think he was like vice president or something.
Couldn't say.
I'm pretty sure. I don't really know. Anyways, that's not important. Ken says the king. Yeah, they indoctrinated a dead pedophile into their ranks. So good job, JCs. But
that's for another day.
That's for enough. So he joins the local JCs and becomes a tireless worker for the organization, which named him a key man in April 1964. So in cult terms, I think that means that he was a part of their cult, or he was like a member in good standing of the cult. Who's basically the Tom Cruise of Scientology, but with the JCs.
Ah, funsies.
That's what I'm guessing. You good?
Yeah, both of my ankles just cracked.
Jeez. That's not popcorn skeleton. You need to settle down.
I'm hatching.
No. Not on this show. Hate you.
I know.
Good. That same year, he had his second homosexual. Oh, he was the 38th vice president. Thank you, Kelly.
Oh,
Hubert Humphrey. Yeah. Now, that same year, he had his second homosexual experience. According to Gacy, after one of his colleagues in the Springfield JCs piled him with drinks and invited him to spend the evening on his sofa, he agreed. The colleague then performed oral sex on him while he was drunk. And by 1965, Gacy had risen to the position of vice president of the Springfield JCs. That same year, they named him the third most outstanding JC in the state of Illinois. So yeah, he's basically Tom Cruise in this whole situation right now.
He is just climbing that ladder, isn't he?
Climbing that cult ladder, I guess. So,
Funsies.
Ow. It tilted my head and it cracked weird. It like didn't even crack. It started to, and then it decided not to.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
So it's like I could feel like the vertebrae move and then move back into the position from before. And I was like, ah. But after a 6-month courtship, Gacy and Myers married in September 1964. Marilyn's father subsequently purchased 3 KFCs in Waterloo, Iowa, and the couple moved there so that he could manage the restaurants, with the understanding that they would move into Marilyn's parents' home. The parents vacated the home for the couple. Like, they were like, oh, we're going to move into your house. And the parents were like, all right, cool, we'll move out.
Deuces.
And that's not the last time that actually happened with Gacy. We'll get into the second time later, but it's just interesting. Like, I don't know. I've never heard of this where it's like, hey, I'm getting married. I'm going to live in your house and you're going to leave. Okay?
Just, yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, makes sense.
Where the fuck did that come from? But anyways, the offer was lucrative. Gacy would receive $15,000 a year, which is the equivalent of $115,000, plus a share of the restaurant's profits. And following his obligatory completion of a management course, Gacy relocated to Waterloo with his wife. And actually, I have a picture of him and his first wife. Let me just pull this up real quick. It's him, his first wife, and his first child. I don't know the daughter's name, unfortunately, but she's innocent in all of this, so I don't want to like be throwing her under the bus. A small picture, unfortunately. It was the best one that I could find, though. But that's Gacy on the left, and that is his first wife on, or no, that's Gacy on the right. I don't know which way it's gonna show for you guys, but anyway,
right. For us, it's the right.
For us, it's the right. So, anyways, and then that's his wife, and then their little baby.
The one in the suit is Gacy.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a bigger picture of this wife in particular, but we'll have a better picture when it comes to his second wife, and we'll get into that in a bit. But
excuse me, sorry.
You good?
Yeah.
So he relocates to Waterloo with his wife, and he opened a club in the basement where his employees could drink alcohol and play pool. And although Gacy employed teenagers of both sexes at his restaurant, he only socialized with his young male employees. Something to remember right there. Now, Gacy had gave many of them alcohol before he made sexual advances, and if they rebuffed him, he would claim his advances were simply jokes or a test of morals. Now, Gacy's wife gave birth to a son in February 1966 and a daughter in March 1967. Gacy himself later described this period of his life as perfect. He had finally earned his father's approval, which he had long sought. When Gacy's parents visited in July 1966, his father apologized for the abuse he had inflicted upon Gacy during his childhood and said, "Son, I was wrong about you," thus becoming the first and last father ever to tell their kid that they were wrong and apologizing for the shit that they put them through.
Yeah, that was a momentous occasion in history. Never repeated.
One dad tried it once and then decided, never going to do that again.
Just one dad did it once and then the kid became a serial killer. So obviously that was the determining factor in that.
Obviously. So, in Waterloo, Gacy joined the local chapters of the chapter of the JCs, regularly offering extended hours to the organization in addition to the 12 and 14-hour days he worked managing 3 restaurants. Although considered ambitious or something of a braggart by the other JCs, they held him in high regard for his fundraising work and in 1967 named him Outstanding Vice President of the Waterloo JCs.
Can we talk about the fact that his name was Gacy and he was in the JCs?
Yeah, right. Seriously. I feel like maybe that's what drew him to the JCs. He's just like, my name Gacy, they JC. I need to join that group. Hi, my name is John Wayne JC.
You're already a JC. Welcome in, son.
Yeah. Hey, John, isn't this pronounced Gacy? No.
It's a soft G.
It's so your name is John Wayne JC?
Uh-huh.
And you were in the JCs in Illinois?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome aboard! We're in all kinds of illegal shit. We do drugs. We hook up with hookers. And that's all true, by the way. That is all entirely true. Let me get into that. So at JC meetings, Gacy often provided fried chicken and insisted on being called Colonel for Colonel Sanders. And the same year that he served on the board of directors in the Waterloo JCs, many of the JCs in Waterloo were involved with wife swapping, prostitution, pornography, and drug use.
Party? Damn.
You think that he went home to his wife and he was just like, honey, guess what?
And she's just like, what?
I joined the JCs here in town.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Right? It's gonna be great. So you better get dressed. We have to go to a swinger party.
A what?
You know, a swinger party where we go and we swap wives. So you're gonna have sex with Ed down the street.
Why?
Because that's what the JCs do here in Waterloo.
What if I don't want to have sex with Ed from down the street?
Did I ask?
No.
Okay, so go get dressed.
Okay.
God, oh my God, you sounded so defeated.
That was the intention.
I know, but still. Do you think that after that ABBA song came out, like everybody in Waterloo, Iowa was just like really excited?
I mean, I don't know. It's like it's not about that Waterloo, I don't think. I'm pretty sure.
It's not about that Waterloo. It's about Napoleon. But still.
Are you sure that
Waterloo.
Napoleon didn't make his way to this Waterloo?
I am not sure. All right, we're not doing that right now. So anyways, let's be honest, the whole having sex with local prostitutes and stuff, okay, so Gacy, he was deeply involved with the wife swapping, the prostitution, the pornography, the drug use, and regularly had sex with local prostitutes, which, let's be honest, if he did, he probably did just so he would fit in with the other guys, although they don't specify that the local prostitutes weren't male prostitutes. Just saying.
That's true. That is true.
So they, he could have had sex with guy prostitutes. We don't know. He probably didn't. I mean, they probably didn't have that many there. But I'm just saying, like, nowhere does it say that he didn't have sex with a guy prostitute.
Ugh, I don't know why my neck is like so itchy tonight.
That's weird.
Ow.
But in August 1967, Gacy committed his first known sexual assault on a teenage boy. The victim was 15-year-old Donald Voorhees, which is just wild to me that, like, Donald Voorhees was, like, assaulted. And then, Jason Voorhees and everything. Like, all my horror friends know what I'm talking about right now. I know that Ken
I
and
even know
Kelly.
what you're talking about.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just curious if they took that name from this kid, But Donald Voorhees was the son of a fellow JC.
Hold on.
What?
Was Jason the one with the hockey mask and the machete?
Yes.
Yay! I remembered.
Yeah, look at you.
And I've never even seen it.
The second one's okay, and the first one's okay, but they're not all. I'm gonna get a lot of hate from horror fans right now, but like, I'm not a huge fan of that franchise, to be perfectly honest. The first one I felt was a lot better because he wasn't even. Well, I'm not even gonna get into it.
Yeah, I won't know what you're talking about, so it'll just be a lot of you talking.
Yeah. Anyways, so Donald Voorhees was the son of a fellow JC, and Gacy lured Voorhees to his house, having promised to show him pornographic films. Gacy plied Voorhees with alcohol and persuaded him to perform oral sex. And over the following months, Gacy similarly abused several other youths, including one whom Gacy encouraged to have sex with his own wife before blackmailing him into performing oral sex on him. Gacy tricked several teenagers into believing that he was commissioned to conduct homosexual experiments in the interests of scientific research and paid them $50 each for these acts.
I gotta put it in your butt for science.
What?
I gotta put it in your butt.
Why?
For science.
Mr. Gacy, are you sure that that's what the scientists want you to do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm so sure. Like, they gave me $50 to pay you for it.
$50?
50. Right here.
I mean, it is 1967, and I do really want that monkey's lunchbox. All right, fine. Give me the money.
Perfect. All right.
Hey.
The scientific community will thank you for your service.
William says, if you don't let me put it in your rear, the commies win. Oh my god.
Oh, that's awful.
So funny though.
Yep.
Ken says it's the old for research purposes shtick. And Kelly has informed us that Jason Voorhees was not named for Donald Voorhees, which is good to know. I didn't actually think that he was. I just thought it was interesting.
Pure
but
coincidence.
Anyway, in March 1968, Voorhees finally reported to his father that Gacy had sexually assaulted him. Voorhees Sr. immediately informed the police, who arrested Gacy and subsequently charged him with performing oral sodomy on Voorhees and the attempted assault of a 16-year-old Edward Lynch. Gacy vehemently denied the charges and demanded to take a polygraph test. However, the result was that the request was granted, and the results indicated that Gacy was nervous when he denied any wrongdoing in relation to both of the young men. Let me take a polygraph. I did not do this.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I'm in the polygraph. Ask me a question.
So did you do it?
No. Wait. Wait, hang on. All right, hang on. All right, ask me again.
Did you do it?
No.
Are you sure?
No. Yes.
Well, one of those was a lie and one of those was the truth. I believe him.
Actually, that's not quite how it went, but Gacy publicly denied any wrongdoings and insisted the charges against him were politically motivated. Voorhees Sr. had opposed Gacy's nomination for appointment as president of the Iowa Jaycees, and several fellow Jaycees found Gacy's story credible and rallied to support him. However, on May 10th, 1968, Gacy was indicted on the sodomy charge. On August 30th, 1968, Gacy persuaded one of his employees, 18-year-old Russell Schroeder, to assault Voorhees in an effort to discourage the boy from testifying against him. Gacy promised to pay Schroeder $300 to lure Voorhees to a secluded spot, spray mace in his face, and beat him. Schroeder agreed, and in early September lured Voorhees to an isolated country park, sprayed mace in his eyes, and then beat him. However, since they hadn't killed the boy, he was able to identify his attacker, which of course led back to Gacy, because that's literally the stupidest fucking idea I have ever heard.
Seriously.
Who does that?
Dumbasses.
Apparently, which Gacy was. And of course, it led back to Gacy, who was forced to undergo psychiatric evaluations. And after 17 days of evaluations, it was decided that he had antisocial personality disorder and that he was competent enough to stand trial, because apparently having antisocial personality disorder means that you might not be competent enough to stand trial. But Gacy pled guilty to one count of sodomy in relation to Voorhees, but not guilty to the charges related to the other youths. Gacy claimed Voorhees had claimed Voorhees had offered his sexual services to him and that he had acted out of curiosity. His story, however, was not believed. Gacy was convicted on sodomy on December 3rd and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment to be served at Anamosa State Penitentiary. That same day, his wife petitioned for divorce, requesting that she be awarded the couple's home and property, sole custody of their 2 children, and alimony. The court ruled in her favor, and the divorce was finalized on September 18th, 1969. Gacy never saw his first wife or his children ever again.
Rip.
During his incarceration at the Anamosa State Penitentiary, Gacy rapidly acquired a reputation as a model prisoner. Within months of his arrival, he had risen to the position of head cook. He also joined the inmate JC chapter and increased its membership from 50 to 650 men in the span of less than 18 months.
Jeez.
He is fantastic for cults. Honestly, if this guy hadn't done what he did, I would say he'd make a fucking good cult leader.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, maybe not a cult leader, but at least like a cult, like a recruiter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hold on a sec. I can do math. Hold on.
650 600 divided by 18.
Maybe I can't do math.
I'm gonna let you try.
That's like 36 people a month.
Wow.
That's more than one person a day.
Yeah, right. I'm checking your math. It's about, 32 people a month. Jesus Christ, that's so many fucking people. How did he do it? Do you think he would approach them in gangs? Like he went to the Aryan Nation first and he was like, you guys should join. And then he like went to the other prison gangs, you know?
I feel like that probably would have been like a good strategy. Start with the groups and then seek out the individuals.
Yeah, exactly. Was the Aryan Nation even a thing in the 60s?
I don't know. I'm not even wholly sure that I know what that is.
The Aryan Nation is a white supremacy gang.
Oh, okay.
Basically prison Nazis.
Got it.
Yeah. So he's also known to have secured an increase in the inmates' daily pay in the prison mess hall and to have supervised several projects to improve conditions for inmates in the prison. And on one occasion, Gacy oversaw the installation of a miniature golf course in the prison rec yard. These prisoners are able to like play mini golf and shit. I can't even play mini golf right now. I don't think mini golf
Boomers is closed.
Golf and stuff here is closed, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I just remember the closest Boomers to me like closed down completely, so it's not even gonna be Boomers anymore when things reopen.
RIP. But in June 1969, Gacy first applied to the State of Iowa Board of Parole for early release. They denied his application. So to prepare for a second scheduled parole hearing in May 1970, Gacy completed 16 high school courses for which he obtained his diploma in 1969. So I guess better late than never.
Yeah. It's never too late to start. There is no time limit on life.
My great grandma didn't get her high school diploma until she was in her like 60s. She'd already lived this like whole life. She'd already lived this whole life. And then she was like, I want to get a high school diploma. I'm just like, damn, all right, do it. It's going to be me when I finally decide to get mine. So anyways, on Christmas Day, 1969, Gacy's father died from cirrhosis of the liver. When told the news, Gacy collapsed to the floor sobbing. His request for supervised compassionate leave to attend the funeral was denied. Interestingly enough, I found a video of him being interviewed a few days before Christmas and then him singing on Christmas Day in the prison choir. And honestly, watching the interview a few days before Christmas and then seeing his face singing in the choir on Christmas Day, you can tell he's in shock and he's gone through something traumatic, which we will show. However, I do want to just make this note that the video is not the best quality. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that really fast, okay?
Yeah,
So
it's old.
it is old. It is.
It's like it's like 50 years old. I think we can cut it some slack.
We can cut Dakota some slack on this one.
I think
Thanks.
so.
Oh, thanks.
Is that as loud as it goes?
Yeah, it is. Is it not? Yeah, that's as loud as it goes. Sorry.
You're good.
Oh, you can't hear it? That's weird.
No, it's very quiet.
That's really weird. Oh, hang on a second. Try something. All right, let me just try something really fast. How about now?
I'm Tom Gacy. I'm from Waterloo, Iowa.
And you're
Way better.
Okay, cool.
What is your title?
Well, I'm first cook in the kitchen, and I run the morning meal.
I
and
just
the
had to
afternoon meal
fix
in the kitchen.
something on my computer.
How long have you been here?
I've been here now a year and about 2 weeks.
Why am I asking how long do you plan to take up residence here?
Well, I hope to be getting out sometime in May.
Well, good. Yes. You're going to continue as a cook, use that as a profession?
Right. This is my profession before I came in.
All right.
Food service.
Well, now, how about Christmas time? You do anything special for the guys? What are you planning for old Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, for example?
Well, Christmas Eve, the food service department, under the direction of Mr. John Breimer, will prepare stockings that we hand out. Well, actually, they're paper bags that'll have fruit, an apple and an orange, and a box of Bridge Mix candy. And this is all from the staff here. They donate this. Then in the cell houses at night on Christmas Eve, we will serve cookies and hot chocolate to the men in the cell houses. This is around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Then from Christmas Day, we serve a regular traditional Christmas dinner.
Not about that. What's that going to be here?
This is quite a meal. This will be roast whole turkey. We use 25 whole turkeys, which are approximately 540 pounds of turkey that we fix. We start preparing this on the day before. This is all prepared by inmates, and there's 9 cooks under my direction, under the supervision of several supervisors that are assigned to the food area. Along with that, we'll make up 10 bake pans, large baking pans of oyster dressing. We use 8 gallons of oyster in that. And we use the giblets and everything so it doesn't go away from the nice giblet gravy. We'll have candied sweet potatoes and use about 36 gallons of that. And so that they have a choice of potato, we make up 250 pounds of mashed potatoes to go along with it. Along with that, we'll use some 60 pounds of mixed vegetables to serve a mixed vegetable as the second vegetable on the line. We'll have 50 pounds of cranberry sauce made up. And we'll make up a Waldorf salad. And our Waldorf salad is your walnut meat, And we used fresh marshmallows, fresh green grapes, and fruit cocktail, and make up our own whipped cream topping with it. We sometimes go through as much as 45 gallons of this on the line. The men, with the exception of the turkey, which they get a general proportion of, and the pumpkin pie that will be served, are allowed to take as much as they want to eat. The only requirement is that you take.
All right, so this next bit is the prison choir, and John Wayne Gacy is singing. Right there is John Wayne Gacy.
Those crisp harmonies.
But like, there was a moment right before I paused where you see him and he just kind of looks out and he just looks lost.
I mean, honestly, sometimes it's just kind of like that when singing in choir.
I don't know. I never did choir, but
I did. Sometimes it's just kind of like that.
Considering he's singing though on the same day that he found out that his father was dead and that he wasn't going to be able to like get to the funeral, like that's a lot.
Yeah, that definitely is a lot.
And just like listening to him describe like the food and everything that they were going to be serving at the prison was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just sounded kind of like he had all of this information, but he was just kind of like, he was just saying it. Like, it didn't sound like he was exactly caring that much about it, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean. But John Wayne Gacy was granted parole after serving 18 months of his 10-year sentence. As part of his parole, he had to go home and live with his mother, and he had to adhere to a 10 p.m. curfew. In 1971, after being let out of prison, John was arrested again with sexually assaulting a teenager that he'd picked up at a Greyhound bus station. This would later go on to be one of his favorite hunting grounds for victims in the future, and a very successful one. The court dismissed this complaint when the boy failed to appear, and the Iowa Board of Parole did not learn about this incident, which violated the conditions for his parole. And 18 months later, in October 1971, Gacy's parole ended. The following month, records of Gacy's I can talk, I swear. The following month, records of Gacy's previous criminal convictions in Iowa were sealed. With financial assistance from his mother, Gacy bought a house near the village of Norridge in Norwood Park Township, an unincorporated area of Cook County, a part of the metropolitan Chicago. The address, 8213 West Summerdale Avenue, is where he resided until his arrest in December 1978, and where, according to Gacy, he committed all of his murders. He became active in his local community. His neighbors considered him helpful. He willingly loaned his construction tools and plowed snow from his neighbors' walks free of charge. Between 1974 and 1978, he hosted annual summer parties attended by hundreds of people, including politicians. In August 1971, shortly after Gacy and his mother moved into the house, he became engaged to Carol Hoff, a divorcee with 2 young daughters. Hoff, whom he had briefly dated in high school, had been a friend of his younger sister's. His fiancée and stepdaughters moved into his home soon after the couple announced their engagement, and Gacy's mother moved out of the house shortly before his wedding on July 1st, 1972. So again, this is another example of like parents being like, "Oh, you're going to get married? Guess I'll just move out then."
Yeah, that's so weird.
Right? So weird. So 1 week before his wedding, on June 22nd, Gacy was arrested and charged with aggravated sexual battery and reckless conduct. The arrest was in response to a complaint filed by a Ute who claimed that Gacy had flashed a sheriff's badge, lured him into the car, and forced him to perform oral sex. These charges were dropped, however, after the complainant attempted to blackmail Gacy. But that is another thing that Gacy would do fairly often to get people to do what he said. He would flash a police badge and people would be like, "Oh shit, you're a cop? Okay, I guess I gotta listen to you." No. You don't have to listen to the scary guy flashing a badge. Like, just because he's like, "Hey, I'm a cop, come get in my car and suck my dick," doesn't mean you have to. For the record.
Seriously.
Don't do that.
There is no law that says you have to suck a cop's dick.
None.
And there is definitely no law that says you have to suck a fake cop's dick.
Yeah. That was just really aggressive. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's so aggressive.
This is important for people to know, okay? We should be.
It's important. It is absolutely important for people to know. Like, this shit, it should not fly. Oh, also, I promised you guys I would show you the picture of him and his second wife and her daughters. So let me just pull that one up. So that is John Wayne Gacy, his second wife, and her 2 daughters. Again, John's the one wearing the suit. Although she's kind of wearing, I don't know what she's wearing, but yeah.
He's it's a really blurry. Tie.
Yeah, it's a really blurry photo, but like I'm just loving the look on the little one's face. Just she looks so angry. Look at how mad
at that age.
Look at how mad she is. She's so mad. She's like, I'm sitting on this jerk's lap, and he's married my mom, and
just, hey, this all sucks.
Fuck this guy.
Wait, no, don't fuck this guy. He'll murder you.
No, wait, don't do that. Don't do that. If you fuck this guy, there's a highly likely chance that he will murder you.
So 0 out of 10. Would not recommend.
Do not fuck. So in 1971, Gacy established a part-time construction business, PDM Contractors. PDM being the initials for painting, decorating, and maintenance. With the approval of his probation officer, he worked evenings on his construction contract while he worked as a cook during the day. And initially, Gacy undertook minor repair work such as sign writing, pouring concrete, redecorating, but he later expanded to include projects such as interior design, remodeling, installation, assembly, and landscaping. And in mid-1973, Gacy quit his job as a cook so that he could fully commit to his construction business. By 1975, PDM was expanding rapidly, and Gacy was working up to 16 hours per day. In March 1977, he became a supervisor for PE Systems, a firm specializing in the remodeling of drugstores. Between PE Systems and PDM, Gacy worked on up to 4 projects simultaneously and frequently traveled to other states. By 1978, PDM's annual revenue was over $200,000, which in today's money is over $700,000.
Dang.
Now, much of PDM's workforce consisted of high school students and young men. Gacy would often proposition his workers for sex or insist that sexual favors be given in return for acts such as lending his vehicles, financial assistance, or promotions. He also claimed to own guns, telling employee Arthur Peterson, "Do you know how easy it would be to go get one of my guns and kill you? And how easy it would be to get rid of the body?"
Well, that sounds like someone I want to sleep with.
Yeah, right? But here's the thing. He would complain about like these kids and to his sister, and his sister would be like, "Hey, why don't you hire like actual contractors?" And he's like, "I can't afford that. $200,000 a year, bro."
Yeah, seriously. If you think
Sure
you can't afford to,
you just like having the eye candy around.
yeah, seriously, like, stop thinking with your dick, dude.
Yeah, seriously. The last thing I want to think about is John Wayne Gacy's dick.
Well, now you're thinking about it.
But it's okay. I'm not the only one thinking about it. Everyone here is also thinking about it.
You're welcome, everybody.
But through his membership at the local Moose Club, Gacy became aware of a Jolly Joker clown club whose members regularly performed at fundraising events and parades, in addition to entertaining hospitalized children voluntarily. In 1975, Gacy joined the Jolly Jokers and created his own performance character, Pogo the Clown and Patches the Clown. Now, of the two, Pogo is the more recognizable. You okay?
Yeah, I just thought I heard like an alarm or something.
That's weird. But of the two, Pogo is the more recognizable clown. He performed Pogo at numerous local parties, political functions, charitable events, and children's hospitals. He also appeared as Patches at the grand opening of his PDM client stores, and Gacy designed his own costumes and taught himself how to apply clown makeup. For those reasons, Gacy is known as the Killer Clown. But again, we're not talking about, it's stupid because he didn't dress up as a clown to kill people, so he's not really a killer clown. But anyways, so occasionally Gacy would remain in his clown garb after a performance, which, you know what, gonna be honest with you, been there. Have I stayed in my clothes after performing? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Just, I did theater for through most of high school. Yeah, after shows, you go to Denny's in half your costume and your makeup still. Like, that's just how it be.
That's just how it be. So he would arrive a few times at his favorite drinking venue, the Good Luck Lounge, dressed in his clown garb, explaining that he had performed at a charitable event and was stopping for a drink before heading home. Gacy later said that acting as a clown allowed him to regress into childhood. And that's going to bring us to the first murder. Gacy's first known murder occurred on January 2nd, 1972. So I just want you to think about that really quick. The first murder happened in 1972. He didn't start doing the clown shit until 1975. By the time he started doing that clown stuff, he was already a murderer.
Freaky.
Yeah. So the first known murder occurred on January 2nd, 1972. According to Gacy's later account, following a family party, he decided to drive to the Civic Center and the Chicago Loop to view a display of ice sculptures before luring 16-year-old Timothy Jack McCoy from Chicago's Greyhound bus terminal into his car. McCoy was traveling from Michigan to Omaha, Nebraska, and Gacy took McCoy on a sightseeing tour of Chicago and then drove him to his home with the promise that he could spend the night and then be driven back to the station in time to catch his bus. Prior to McCoy's identification, he was simply known as the Greyhound busboy. Gacy claimed he woke early the following morning to find McCoy standing in his bedroom doorway with a knife in his hand. He then jumped from his bed, and McCoy raised both arms in a gesture of surrender, tilting the knife upwards and accidentally cutting Gacy's forearm. Gacy twisted the knife from McCoy's wrist, banged his head against the bedroom wall, kicked him against his wardrobe, and walked towards him. McCoy then kicked Gacy in the stomach, doubling him over. Gacy grabbed McCoy, wrestled him to the floor, and stabbed him repeatedly in the chest as he straddled him. As McCoy lay dying, Gacy claimed he was washing the knife off in his bathroom, then went to his kitchen and saw an open carton of eggs and a slab of unsliced bacon on the kitchen table. McCoy had also set the table for two. He had walked into Gacy's room to wake him while absent-mindedly carrying the knife in his hand. Gacy buried McCoy in his crawl space and later covered his grave with a layer of concrete. In an interview several years after his arrest, Gacy said that immediately after killing McCoy, he felt totally drained, yet noted as he listened to the gurgulations, that's Gacy's word, not mine, as McCoy lay gasping for air, that he had experienced a mind-numbing orgasm as he stabbed him. He added, "That's when I realized that death was the ultimate thrill." And that's where we're going to leave off for tonight's episode. Yeah. I kind of feel, I mean, obviously I feel bad for the kid that was killed, Timothy. Like, that's just, it's so fucking awful. It really is. Like, he just tried to make breakfast.
Was make some breakfast.
Yeah, he was just making breakfast for them. And like, here's the thing. He didn't have to rape Timothy. And I have a picture of him. Let me just find it really quick. Yeah. So this is Timothy McCoy. I mean, Gacy couldn't have done better as far as boyfriends. Like, he's cute. Gacy definitely couldn't have done better. Yeah. This fucking kid just slept with Gacy and then tried to make breakfast for them. And like, he didn't have to, he was like the first time that Gacy had consensual sex with a guy. Like, how fucking sad is that? The first time you have consensual sex with a guy, and like, this guy seems like a pretty good dude. Like, he just wants to, hang out and like have breakfast the next day and then catch a ride to the bus station. Like, that could have been a turning point in Gacy's fucking life, but instead he panicked.
Yeah, he had that knife panic.
Yeah, he had that knife panic. He panicked and he killed him. And unfortunately, killing him just got those wires crossed in his brain. And he's just like, oh, killing is hot. Therefore, now I have to kill everyone I have sex with.
Ugh.
Yeah, it sucks.
Weird how people have a hard time processing things properly when, they're raised in a very traumatic and rough environment.
Wild, isn't it?
What a concept.
No kidding. All right, so, excuse me. Yeah, Ken says it. Sorry. Ken says it best right here.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Yep. Kelly says, honestly, I think Gacy saw a knife in this kid's hand and it's a sad and fucked up circumstance. That's absolutely what it was. But anyways, if you're enjoying this content and you want to see more before Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, feel free to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Dakota's Beard. I just uploaded another video in there right before we started the show. So you are getting to hear the first of 3 parts. Kate, you know what it is.
Sadly, I do. But oh, go check it out.
The first of 3 parts of one of our Cryptid Week series. It's horrible. Kate and I wanted to cry the entire time. I'm fairly certain that that's one of the episodes where I just started drinking rum straight out of the bottle.
I think so. I literally, like, I had to take over reading this story because after this first one, I knew I wasn't going to be able to handle listening, so I had to take over reading, or I wasn't going to get through it.
No. Kelly says you're squirming again. She is, because she knows what happened up on Patreon.
Oh, I was there. I remember it well, Kelly. Oh.
Me too. Me too. Alrighty, so if you like seeing us squirm and drink ourselves to near comatose moments, go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Dakota's Beard. You get access to all of those extra videos for just $5 a month. And if you want to support Kate and myself personally, my Venmo is at Dakota's Beard. Kate's is at Kate Ulrich 42. And until Thursday, we will say good night. And so I guess say good night, Kate.
Good night, Kate.
Good night. And don't think that you have to suck the dick of a guy who has a cop badge, because you don't.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.